I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening and welcome to another episode of the Douglas Ducote Show. You had many places to be tonight, but chose to be here with me, and for that I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. It is Thanksgiving week. So just to let you know, I will not be doing a show this coming Thursday because I will be with my family enjoying Thanksgiving. We're doing two different Thanksgivings this year. We're doing one with my parents over on the other side of the state, and then we're going to come back here to this side of the state and do one with my wife's family. So there's going to be lots of eating, and I'm sure by Tuesday of next week when I come on the show, I'll have weighed at least another 10 pounds. So anyhow, hope whatever you're doing this Thanksgiving week, that you're safe and that you're with family and friends. But also, please think about our troops that are deployed all across the nation that are sacrificing for us to be able to enjoy this holiday and all holidays, as well as their families too, that are missing out with their loved ones this Thanksgiving as they're deployed. Before we get into tonight's show, it would not be right if I didn't share with you a little bit of history that happened on this day, November 22nd of 1963. A horrible tragedy that is in the history books. President John F. Kennedy, who was the 35th president of the United States, was assassinated today in 1963 while riding an open car motorcade downtown in Dallas, Texas. The shocking event of 59 years ago happened near the end of JFK's third year as president. Riding in the same car as Kennedy and First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy was Texas Governor John B. Connally, as well as Connally's wife, Natalie Connally. That same day, Nellie Connally, that same day, the suspect in the shooting, Lee Harvey Oswald, was arrested. Vice President Lyndon B. Johnson was sworn in as president that day, as well as the stunned nation absorbed the blow of the sudden and violent losing its elected president. Crowds and excited people lined the streets of Dallas and waved to the Kennedys that day, as JFK's library's website notes of the president's campaign event, one of several that day that took place in Texas. The car turned off Main Street at DeLay Plaza around 12:30 p.m. As it was passing the Texas School Book Depository, gunfire suddenly riveted in the plaza. The website also details bullets struck the president's neck, head, and he slumped over towards Miss Kennedy. The governor was shot in the back of the head as well. Right after the shooting, the car sped off to Parkland Memorial Hospital just a few minutes away. The JFK Library's website also noted, but little could be done for the president. A Catholic priest was summoned to administer the last rites, and at 1 p.m., John F. Kennedy was pronounced dead. Governor Connally had been seriously wounded, but later was able to recover. The president's body was brought to Love Field and placed on Air Force One, the website also notes. Before the plane took off, a grim-faced Lyndon B. Johnson stood in the tight, crowded compartment and took the oath of office, administered by U.S. District Court Judge Sarah Hughes. The time was 2:38 p.m. Bob Huckler, a former reporter at KRLD Radio in Dallas, was an eyewitness to the shooting, according to writers. It looked as though the entire city had turned up, he said of that day in November. It was really great. Dallas had shown that it really loved the president. Another witness, Hugh Asenworth, a former reporter for the Dallas Morning News, said, "Then I heard what I thought was a motorcade backfiring, only it wasn't. It was the first shot, and then in a few seconds, another shot and a third." Said the famed Walter Cronkite of CBS News that day during an on-camera news bulletin that broke into the then in progress as the world turns soap opera of the network. From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President John F. Kennedy at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Time, some 38 minutes ago. Less than an hour before that, however, police arrested Lee Harvey Oswald, a recently hired employee at the Texas School Book Depository. The JFK Library's website says he was being held for the assassination of President Kennedy and the fatal shooting. Shortly afterwards, a patrolman, J.D. Tippett of the Dallas Street then, on Sunday morning, November 24th. Oswald was scheduled to be transferred from police headquarters to the county jail. Viewers across America watched the live television coverage when suddenly a man aimed with a pistol and fired at point-blank range, adds the website of the caught-on-camera crime. The assailant was identified as Jack Ruby, who was a local nightclub owner. Oswald died 2 hours later at Parkland Hospital. The same day, President Kennedy's flag-draped casket was moved from the White House to the Capitol on a caisson drawn by 6 gray horses, accompanied by 1 riderless black horse, the library also notes. Crowds lined Pennsylvania Avenue, and many wept openly as the caisson passed. During the 21 hours that the president's body lay in state at the Capitol Rotunda, about 250,000 people filed by to pay their respects. On Monday, November 25th, 1963, Kennedy was laid to rest at Arlington National Cemetery. The funeral was attended by heads of state and representatives from over 100 countries, with untold millions more watching on television. Afterwards, at the gravesite, Miss Kennedy and her husband's brothers, Robert and Edward, lit an internal flame. Any American alive at the time and watched can likely still recall one of the most indelible images of the day. The salute of a young child to his father, John F. Kennedy Jr., was only 3 years old at the time, plus daughter Caroline kneeling next to her mother at the president's coffin, and the extraordinary grace and dignity shown by Jacqueline Kennedy. Many unanswered questions remain to this day about John F. Kennedy's assassination. In the decades since, conspiracy theories and speculations of all kinds have surfaced and continue to bring up debate and discussion on this subject. If you haven't done so and you have the opportunity, you're ever in Dallas, Texas, go over to the book depository. It is a museum now. I've had the opportunity to tour it, and you get to actually go to the right there where this all took place, plus out on the street as well. And also, if you're ever up in Washington near Arlington Cemetery, you can go there as well and see his gravesite and the eternal flame. John F. Kennedy was probably, in my opinion, my personal opinion, the last of the true Democrats, because what started happening after his assassination is what we deal with today, which is the far left that has infiltrated the Democrat Party and turned it into a party that is unrecognizable from how it used to be. Many of you know that have watched this show on and on for quite some time now, that I was born and raised a staunch Democrat here in Louisiana. And it wasn't until I went into the United States military in 1985, during Ronald Reagan's time, that I come to the realization that I was following the wrong party, that it was a party full of hate and misguided, and it continued to get worse as time went on. So today, I consider myself a conservative I vote Republican, although I do my homework, which is what all Americans should do before they go and vote for anyone of any office in the United States of America. And sadly, that doesn't happen today. So, this day in history, JFK was assassinated. Dr. Anthony Fauci will sit for a deposition tomorrow as part of a Republican lawsuit against the Biden administration that says the government colluded with social media companies to censor free speech related to COVID-19. Last month, a federal judge ordered that Fauci's high-profile public comments made him a key figure in the lawsuit from the Republican Attorney General of Missouri and Louisiana, who alleged collusion between the Biden administration and social media companies to censor speech that could be damaging to the White House, such as the origins of the virus and the effectiveness of masks. The AG said the deposition is scheduled tomorrow, November 23rd, and will be conducted by Attorney General Eric Schmitt and Jeff Landry, along with lawyers from their office. The deposition will be sealed by court order, sadly. Since we filed our landmark lawsuit, we have uncovered documents and discovery that show clear coordination between the Biden administration and social media companies on censoring speech, but we're not done yet, said Smith. We plan to get answers on behalf of the American people, so stay tuned. We all deserve to know how involved Dr. Fauci was in the censorship of American people during the COVID pandemic. Tomorrow, I hope to find that out. And I will continue fighting for the truth as it relates to big government collusion with big tech to stifle free speech, said Landry. Smith and Landry first filed the lawsuit back in May and accused top-ranking government officials of working with a giant social media companies, Meta, aka Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, under the guidelines of combined misinformation. And I, for one, was subject to just that. I was banned on Facebook. In fact, they actually removed my entire profile and I had to start all over again. I was censored right here on YouTube many times, to include being put in timeout for weeks at a time, because I was sharing information from doctors, by the way, nothing that I made up on my own or nothing that I, found off the internet. No, I was sharing information from real people that went to medical school and were treating patients with this disease. But because it didn't fit the narratives of the CDC and the World Health Organization, I, along with many other people that were out there trying to get real information out to the American public, were censored. One key fact they want to prove is that Fauci worked with Facebook and others to tamp down talk that the virus originated in a lab in Wuhan, China. Defendant Dr. Anthony Fauci, a senior federal official coordinating with others, orchestrated a campaign to discredit the lab leak hypotheses in early 2020. Landry and Smith said in a brief. As director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease, Dr. Fauci has funded risky gain-of-function research at the Wuhan institution through such entities as Eco Health Alliance, headed by Dr. Peter Daszky. Thursday, if the lab leak theory was established, Dr. Fauci and Dr. Daszky could be potentially implicated in funding the research on viruses that caused the COVID-19 pandemic and killed millions of people worldwide. Fauci's last appearance at the White House was today. Did any of you see that? I did. What an absolute disgrace that took place. It was in the James Brady briefing room where he took questions from reporters for the last time before he plans to retire from his post as director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Disease and chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden. Why? Because he knows what will happen come January when Republicans are sworn in. They will see to it he doesn't get a retirement. It's really a great pleasure to be back here with you again, he said, I believe for the last time, Fauci said today from a podium before once again urging all Americans to go out and get vaccinated. Every day for all those years that I've given it all I have, and I've never left anything on the field, he continued. I gave it all I had. Then a reporter asked a question about the origins of COVID-19, and then all hell went loose. Absolute insanity. Because the reporter asking that question had the press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre, flip out and started accusing the reporter of being rude, yelling, disrespectful to their guest, Dr. Fauci, and disrespectful to fellow colleague reporters, speaking out of turn and refused to allow Fauci to answer the question. Why is that? Why could a simple question of where did this start not be answered by the guy that supposedly is the expert in that field? I don't have the answer to that, and I won't go into any further about that particular situation, because if I do, well, once again, I'll be censored. While we're on the subject, and this is going to piss you off, trust me, Joe Biden and 19 top world leaders signed off on a call to build on the success of digital COVID-19 certificates. The European Union and many others have referred to such certificates as vaccine passports. World leaders at the annual G20 summit, which ended November 16th, signed a 52-point declaration detailing their shared values and how they'll approach the biggest international challenges. Expansion of vaccine passport program comes up in the 23rd point. We support continued international dialogue and cooperation on the establishment of trusted global digital health networks as part of our effort to strengthen prevention and response to future pandemics that should capitalize and build on the success of the existing standards of digital COVID-19 certificates. The declaration reads in part, rumors spread back in 2021, as you may all remember, that vaccine passports would become part of American life, but President Joe Biden's drive and cover as many Americans as possible with the vaccine's mandate were in process. Passports have been touted as a way to incentive vaccination, but also criticized as another tool for government to control and surveillance. The European Union back in 2021 implemented a digital vaccine passport for traveling between member countries. Since then, all but 4 EU countries have lifted COVID-19 vaccine passport requirements, according to the EU's travel permit portal. Some U.S. cities, including New York City, set up vaccine passports, but the Biden administration stopped short of a national system. You all may recall this when he said, "Let me be clear that the government is not now, nor will we ever be supporting a system that requires Americans to carry credential." The leader of the White House COVID-19 response team, Jeff Zinnett, said in April of 2021, there will be no federal vaccine database, no federal mandate requirement or requiring anyone to obtain a single vaccination credential. However, the U.S. has required COVID-19 vaccines for any non-citizen or non-immigrant entering the country since October 2021, unless they come across our southern border, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Declaration signed by the G20 leaders also praised the international health regulations, a set of international public health rules binding virtually every country on earth that G20 leaders said facilitated seamless international travel. Part of the IHR is the so-called yellow card that countries choose to require, providing vaccinations against disease such as yellow fever and polio. Yellow card documentation of the COVID-19 vaccine is not yet required by any country, according to the CDC, but Joe Biden and the other G20 members have signed off on looking to make that permanent law. Arizona Democrat Senator Mark Kelly, also a former astronaut, and was just reelected at midterms, is now criticizing his own party, the Democrats, in response to the border crisis. In an interview with the Washington Post today, go check out that interview after the show. The Democrat was blunt when asked if he thought his party was doing a good job in recognizing the magnitude of the problem at the southern border and America's frustrations with it not being addressed. And he said, quote, "Absolutely not. Not even close. When I first got to Washington, it didn't take me long to realize that there are a lot of Democrats who don't understand our southern border and a lot of Republicans who just want to talk about it," he explained. And oh, by the way, sir, that's all they can do until they are in charge. Since President Biden took office, illegal border crossings have surged to historic levels. One dire result is the hundreds of thousands of opiate pills pouring across the border every week, killing Americans. In the month of October alone, Customs and Border Protection reported over 230,000 border encounters in just October, while another 64,000 approximately crossed the border without being apprehended in just October. Kelly said he was optimistic that the two parties could come together to secure the border and pass immigration reform. But he reiterated his party doesn't really understand the problem at the border. We still have a situation where a lot of Democrats don't really understand it, and a lot of Republicans just want to talk about it and use it for political purposes. But I'll tell you what, I think there are enough of us who understand it and want to accomplish something, he told the Post. The Democrat senator was reelected to office after defeating Republican Blake Masters in the November midterm elections. Kelly said he heard voters' concerns about the border while campaigning across the state. You can't ignore that in Arizona. It has been a chaos down there at times for decades, he remarked. Also, Arizona Democrat Governor-elect Katie Hobbs similarly called for more action from Democrats in addressing crime from the unsecured border. It's one of the things at the top of my agenda to talk to the president about in terms of bringing real security to our state and the border. She said this today, actually, this morning. She called out President Biden to do more. I've said this before. I don't think they're doing enough. I would love to have them visit and see firsthand the kind of support and relief that folks in this community need from the federal government, Hobbs told CNN this morning. The president hasn't visited the overburdened southern border since he took office 2 years ago. In the border city of Yuma, the rampant illegal immigration has caused some residents to fear for their safety, even to the point of hiring armed security guards to protect their families. Yuma County Supervisor Jonathan Lines told Fox News they were constantly having people come into their homes and to their yards, and they were not respectful. I've seen this before, and I've said it before, and I say it again. It will take a Democrat member of Congress to be personally affected by this crisis sadly, one of their family members killed by an illegal alien, or other Democrats like what we have now speaking out before it will ever change. If you haven't already done so, at DouglasDucote.com, and also I believe still on this YouTube channel, I have some of the documentaries we did on the border still posted. I know they're at DouglasDucote.com. Check it out and see firsthand what we saw when we went down there. We did several documentaries on the border and were completely blown away by the conditions and what was happening. We talked to local law enforcement. We talked to federal law enforcement. We went out with Border Patrol. We talked to them. We went to the Rio Grande. We talked to people that lived there along the border. We covered a lot of different areas while we were down there. One of the things that I asked law enforcement when we were there, individual times, all the same question. If I could get one message out there, what would it be? And they all basically said the same thing. Ask members of the Democrat Party to come physically down here to the border and join us on the border as we go out and do our patrols, like Republicans do, like Fox News did and continues to do. Many Republicans in Congress have gone down there and joined the Border Patrol and went out for basically ride-alongs to see it firsthand. But the Democrats refuse to do that. Democrats like Ilhan Omar, Rashid Tlaib, AOC, they went to detention centers and looked at what they said was, quote, kids in cages, but never went and talked to the real men and women that are down there doing the actual job. And as it came back to bite them in their happy little asses, which nothing really became of it, was that they did nothing but lie. They lied about what was happening. They lied and said that Trump built cages to put these families in, when we found out that it wasn't Trump at all that did that. It was Barack Obama, and Joe Biden was his vice president, who was responsible for building the cages. And there were many other things that AOC and that group of pathetic losers had to say. They accused Border Patrol members, when they went to the detention facilities, of making catcalls at them and making sexual threats, which all was on tape and all was filmed, and none of that actually happened. They accused Border Patrol agents of making illegal immigrants drink out of toilets instead of giving them fresh water. Another lie. And it just goes on and on and on. It was all a pathetic show of nonsense. And sadly, people like CNN and MSNBC and ABC and CBS, and they all took it hook, line, and sinker and believed what these pathetic members of Congress reported on. And none of it was true. Biden's backers are laying the groundwork to discredit and downplay any forthcoming revelations from Hunter Biden's laptop after House Republicans announced plans to launch a federal investigation last week once they take control of the House in January. Ron Flipowski, a former Republican and now a Democrat, pledged this month that he will be forever grateful to President Biden for saving the country from a second Donald Trump term. Issued a tweet thread yesterday arguing that while he was adamantly avoided the Hunter Biden subject for a long time, there is no evidence to tie the first son's business dealings to the president. It's quite clear that Hunter was a very serious drug addict that went completely off the rails and did a lot of crazy stuff, he said. It also seems clear that the frequency used his dad's name and alleged connections to make money and gain access. If the point is to embarrass, humiliate, or trash Hunter, that won't be hard. But who cares, he said. The only thing that makes any of this relevant for a congressional inquiry is whether Joe Biden was directly involved or benefited financially from what Hunter was up to. That is the problem for them. On that score, the evidence is sorely lacking. From what I have seen, which is a lot, they're going to have an extremely difficult time tying Hunter's activities to Joe. And if they fail to do that, it will backfire on them to wasting so much taxpayer money. Resources and hype are an exercise to show that Hunter was a corrupt drug addict who leveraged his family's name for his own benefit, he said. I don't know what kind of information you've been reading, sir, but you are completely out of touch with reality on Joe Biden's connection to his son and his connection with his son in Ukraine, connection with his son with China. Republican Representative James Comer, who is the incoming chair of the House Oversight Committee, and Republican Jim Jordan, who is expected to soon chair the Judiciary Committee, alleged at a press conference last Thursday that President Biden was actively involved in overseeing business dealings alongside his son, Hunter. Last month, about 24 left-wing social media influencers were invited to the White House to learn about Biden's accomplishments ahead of the midterm elections. Now that Republicans have retaken control of the House, many of those same influencers are downplaying an investigation into the Biden family as a nothing burger. I don't give a flying fuck about Hunter Biden's laptop, said Joanne Carducci, who tweeted under the handle JoJo from Jeers. She tweeted that last Thursday. Went on to say, who has repeatedly described the 2016 presidential election as stolen and routinely pushed for discredited P-tape claim from the infamous Steele dossier, was pictured hobnobbing at the White House, Chief of Staff Ron Klein, and Second Gentleman Douglas Emhoff during the October 21st event at the White House. Scott Dworkin, who also attended the October 21 event, tweeted Thursday that no one with a brain cares about Hunter's laptop. It's like I'm reading a Saturday Night Live skit. These Democrats are freaking insane. She also wrote Ellison Gill, who also attended the October 21st event, tweeted Friday, breaking, Kevin McCarthy plans to tackle high food prices by investigating Hunter Biden. Jesus. The creators behind the anti-Trump group Mattis Touch, who were also at the October 21st White House event, according to Politico, said Thursday that an investigation into Hunter and other Republicans' efforts will turn Congress into a clown show. Isn't that ain't what we've been watching? Are you serious? Occupy Democrats Grant Stern, who also was at the October 21st event, recently called the Hunter Biden speculation stupid and made a joke Friday about what the laptop may contain. During Thursday's press conference, Comer, citing whistleblowers, asserted that the Biden family flourished and became millionaires by simply offering access to the family, which, by the way, is illegal. The Republicans released a report Thursday saying that they have uncovered evidence of conspiracy to defraud the U.S., wire fraud, violation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, money laundering, tax evasion, and other crimes. The White House responded by accusing congressional Republicans of promoting long-debunked conspiracy theories, which, by the way, we all know is bullshit because they aren't debunked. That's what they tried to got the media involved to do. That's what they got Facebook to do. That's what they got YouTube to do. That's what they got Twitter to do. Go out and say it's all fake. And who led that? Oh, the FBI. Instead of working with President Biden to address issues important to the American people, like lower costs, congressional Republicans' top priority is to go after President Biden with political motivated attacks, chock full of lone debunk conspiracy theories, Ein Sams, a spokesman for the White House Counsel Office, said. And what have y'all been doing for the past several years? Exactly what you're claiming the Republicans are doing. You can't have it both ways. We have TVs and radios and computers, iPhones. We've been watching this unfold. President Biden is not going to let these political hacks distract him from focusing on Americans' priorities. And we hope congressional Republicans will join us in tackling them instead of wasting time and resources on political revenge. What? Jesus. Oh, my Lord, I swear. It's like they have amnesia or dementia. They just, Alzheimer's. They don't recall that we, the people, have watched what they've done to President Trump and Republicans and conservatives for the past 6-7 fucking years. Are you kidding me? You guys don't have a leg to stand on to sit there and preach that we're doing something that, is crazy. I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. Be careful what you do, Democrats, with your investigations, with your absolute bullshit crap that you've been doing for the past several years, because one day Republicans will be back in charge, and when that happens, they're going to turn the tables on your ass. Welcome to 2024, right around the corner, when you're no longer going to have Joe Biden. Welcome to 2023, right around the corner, where guess what? Republicans will have the House and subpoena power to look into all this criminal activity that you claim didn't happen. The House Democrat leadership had nothing to say this week about GOP leader Kevin McCarthy's pledge to boot 3 of their members from their committee assignments when Republicans take power in January. Fox Digital News reached out to every member of the present Democrat leadership, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Majority Leader Stanley Hauer, and Majority Whip Jim Clyburn about the topic, but no response was provided. The top 3 Democrats likely to ascend to the leadership ladder next Congress, Representatives Hackman Jeffries, Catherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar, also declined to comment. While Democrat leaders had no comment on McCarthy's threat, rank and file Democrats have lashed out at the idea that Representatives Eric Swalwell, Adam Schiff, and squad members like Ilhan Omar will be kicked out of their committees. Just like the Democrats did to Marjorie. He's trying to silence a powerful voice, singling out the only Muslim in the committee and stroke extremism and division, said Representative-elect Greg Sizer, Democrat, Texas. McCarthy, the Republican designee for the next House Speaker, told Fox News on Sunday that when his party takes control of the House in January, it will make good on a long-held promise to bar Omar, Schiff, and Swalwell from committees. The GOP leader said Swalwell's prior association with a Chinese spy, which I reported on, along with many other people, Schiff's promotion of Russia collusion theories that weren't true, lying to the American people, which I reported on, along with many others, and Omar's criticism of Israel, America, our veterans, and our military, calling us terrorists. which is something I reported on along with many other people. One thing I said from the very beginning, Eric Swalwell cannot get a security clearance in the public sector, said McCarthy. Why would we ever give him a security clearance and the secrets to America when he was having sex and sleeping with a known Chinese spy? So I will not allow him to be on the House Intelligence Committee, where he currently serves under Democrat leadership, he said. You have Adam Schiff, who lied to the American public time and time again about all the evidence that he had on Donald Trump. We will not allow him to be on the Intelligence Committee either, McCarthy added. Schiff now chairs that committee. Look at Congresswoman Omar, her anti-Semitic comments that have gone forward, McCarthy added. We're not going to allow her to be on the Foreign Affairs Committee, where she serves today. Omar, Democrat Minnesota, claimed that McCarthy's pledge was just another example of Republicans turning her into a target. No, it's not, ma'am. You, madam, called veterans terrorist, called the American military the real terrorist. The whole situation that happened in Somalia, the movie Black Hawk Down was made about. You referred to America as the terrorist that day. A sitting member of Congress referring to the real heroes of this country as terrorist. That's why your ass is fixing to be kicked off of a committee. And you should be removed from Congress, which I've said many, many times. There should be absolutely no one allowed to be a member of Congress if they are anti-American and ungrateful like this bitch is. We saved her and her family's life by bringing them over here to America. They were refugees from Somalia. And this ungrateful bitch does what? Refers to America, our military, and our veterans as terrorists. No. That's why, man, you're about to be 96'd out. From the moment I was elected, the Republican Party has made it their mission to use fear, Islamophobia, and racism to target me on the House floor and threw millions of dollars of campaign ads, she said, while crying. McCarthy's effort to repeatedly single me out for scorn and hatred, including threatening to strip me of my committee, does nothing to address the issues our constituents deal with. It doesn't do anything to address inflation or health care or solve the climate crisis. Schiff's office did not respond to requests from the committee for the story. Swalwell's congressional office was unfazed by McCarthy's pledge. Please circle back if Kevin McCarthy becomes speaker, a spokesman for Swalwell told Fox Digital. You freaking idiots did it to yourself. Oregon sheriffs are saying that a new gun law measure voters approved in the midterm election will not be enforced in their counties. A month after New York sheriffs said they were bucking a new restriction in their state, the new Oregon law, called Measure 114, is a significant clampdown on gun ownership, magazines, and anything that holds 10 rounds are banned. And to buy a new gun, citizens must take a hands-on gun safety course to get a permit from local law enforcement on top of the already required federal background check. According to Oregon Public Broadcasting, at least 5 county sheriffs have said they won't be enforcing the law, either in part or as a whole. 4 of those counties are in state rule east, but one, Lynn County, stretches into Oregon's liberal Willamette Valley and is the state's 8th most populace according to state data. The other counties are Millhard, Union, Jefferson, and Sherman. In a Facebook post, Union County Sheriff Cody Bowen called the measure an infringement on our constitutional rights. He went on to characterize it as an unfunded mandate that would require cuts to police services to make up for new law enforcement responsibilities. But Bowen told Fox News the biggest thing with Measure 114 is it does absolutely nothing to address the problem, which he believes comes down to mental health awareness. Where have you heard that before? In a letter to residents, Jackson County Sheriff Jason Pollock said the idea that restricting magazines to 10 rounds will make you safe is one of the most ignorant statements ever made, adding that his will not enforce Measurement 114 in that county. Malheur County Sheriff Brian Wolf said the new law is not going to be a priority or reality, even considered in his county. Requests for background checks quadrupled in Oregon following the passage to Measure 114, OPM reported, indicating a spike in gun sales ahead of its implementation. Let's talk about this for a moment once again. If someone drinks and drives and they get in a car crash, and let's say their passengers are killed, or the car they hit because they were drunk driving was killed, do we hold the car manufacturers responsible for this death or deaths? Are the car manufacturers responsible for the person who made the decision to drink and drive and got these people killed? No, we don't. You know why? Because it has nothing to do with the car manufacturer. It's the person who made the decision to get behind the wheel of a car while drinking alcohol or doing drugs. They're the guilty person. They're the one responsible for the deaths if that happens. If someone kills another person with a knife, for instance, do we hold the manufacturer that built the knife responsible for the death? No, we don't. We hold the person responsible that used the knife to kill the person. It ain't the knife's manufacturer's problem. They didn't do this. How about if someone or some people hijack an airliner or airliners and fly them into buildings, killing thousands of innocent people? Do we hold the airlines responsible, or do we hold the manufacturer of the airline, like Boeing, for instance, responsible for building the airplanes? No, we don't. We hold the crazy son of a bitches that did this responsible. They're the ones responsible. Now let's look at some facts. From, you liberals and Democrats will love this, from the FBI, their own investigations. You know, the ones that I've been very critical of, the FBI, for how they've been handling things that we've watched over the past several years. According to them, more people were murdered with knives and blunt objects such as hammers every year than guns. I'll be damned. If somebody uses a hammer and beats somebody in the head, I think it just happened to Pelosi's husband. Are we holding the people that built the hammer responsible for what that nut job did? I don't think so. How about where he bought it at Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart? Are they responsible for his actions? No. The FBI also says fewer people were killed with shotguns, AR-15s, or rifles of any type than what was killed with knives and blunt objects. What are most people murdered with? Handguns. If a weapon that fires a bullet is used, handguns. Yet Democrats want to ban AR-15s and hold the gun manufacturers responsible for mentally ill that commit the crimes. According to a Pew Research report, protection tops the list of reasons why gun owners have guns. Not hunting, protecting themselves and their families. And oh, by the way, the Second Amendment didn't have a damn thing to do with hunting. Do your homework, Democrats and liberals. 2/3 of gun owners, 67%, say this is a major reason why they own a firearm, protecting themselves and their family. The study also said that regardless of whether they live in an urban, suburban, or rural area, Americans are much more likely to cite protection than other considerations as a major reason for owning a gun. Rifles such as AR-15s, which look like some of the long guns you see in military or action movies, are usually set up to fire .223 Remington ammo or 5.56 millimeter NATO ammo. Gun control advocates and many Democrat politicians want to ban AR-15s. Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15 and your AK-47. Former presidential contender Beto O'Rourke said during his debate when he was running to be president, when he was running to be a member, I think it was the Texas governorship. And many other Democrats have come out with the exact same bullshit, to include Let's Go Brandon himself, talking about banning AR-15s and AK-47s. I just report the facts. Liberals don't like the facts. Democrats don't like the facts. They think that when we cite this shit, we're just making it up. There were a bunch of freaking idiots that don't know any better. As we go into this Thanksgiving week, I want to share with you a good, positive story. And I hope that you will look into this yourself and get involved. There is an organization called Paws, P-A-W-S, as in a dog's paw, Paws of War, serving our hero troops, veterans, and first responders. Since 2014, we have brought over 300 dogs and cats rescued by our troops serving overseas to safety in the U.S. We have provided hundreds of veterans with service and support dogs rescued from kill shelters right here in America. Our mission to train and place shelter and support dogs to serve and provide independence to our U.S. military veterans that suffer from emotional and physical effects of war. In turn, each veteran can experience the therapeutic and unconditional love only a companion animal can bring. To provide animal rescue for our troops serving overseas. Quick facts. They have graduated to date 300 plus dogs that were rescued in this program. To date, 455 dogs have actually been rescued total. Since 2014, 988 people have volunteered to work for the organization and have put in over 68,000 hours. Paws of War provides service dogs and training to veterans and first responders who have served in any branch of the uniformed services in any era, have received an honorable or general under honorable condition discharge, have a service-connected disability, medical condition, have been released from all service and reserve obligations, have met all Paws of War requirements for application to the program, applied and been accepted into the program, has successfully completed all required Paws of War training and certificate requirements, and there is no cost whatsoever to the veteran for the dogs we rescue, train, and then place with them. So they rescue them and they train them. They go through a process before they become able to go out to be a service dog. I ask you to please go to pawsofwar.org for more information about their services. Also, pictures and information about dogs available for adoption, as well as cats. And there's also, the most important part of this, a donation link. So if you're able, please make a donation to Paws of War. They have locations in New York, which is their headquarters, in Florida and North Carolina at the moment. I personally reached out to them today. I'll be talking to them again soon, and I will do more on this organization in the coming weeks and months. I, for one, who recently had a service dog pass away from cancer, I've not gotten another one. I do have 3 other dogs that keep me company, but I can assure you that for veterans with PTSD, or anyone with PTSD for that matter, these dogs are a very good resource to help you and your family members. If you can, please go check them out. Please go to their website and please donate to help this cause. You will see on there military veterans that served, they were in the reserve or in the National Guard or active duty, that while they were overseas, a dog came into their life or came into their area, and they kind of adopted the dog, let's say, and took care of it and fed it and gave it water, because they're out on the streets of war and torn wherever they're at, whether it's in Iraq or Afghanistan or Syria. And you can also read some of their stories and how they reached out to Paws of War, who then turned around and went and got the dog and brought them back here to America and cleaned them up and gave them their shots and took care of them and trained them to go to that vet. Or in some cases, if that's not what they want, they just want to save the animal, get them out of there to where they can be adopted after they've been trained to be a service animal, if that's capable. And then they also travel around America and go to kill shelters and rescue those that are able to be trained to help veterans and first responders. I think this is a very, very good organization, and they're doing something that's very, very positive for America's veterans and first responders. Folks, you had many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Whatever you do this week for the Thanksgiving week, please be safe. Enjoy your family. Remember those that are deployed and their families that are here left behind, waiting for them to return. I know what it's like to be deployed during the Thanksgiving holidays, and Christmas for that matter. As a combat veteran, I have served overseas many times during the holidays, and my family back here at home wishing I was with them. So please keep them, not just the service members, but also their families, in your thoughts and prayers this Thanksgiving. And when you sit down at the table with your families, if you do what I like to do, which is go around the table and ask each family member to say a little something about what they're thankful for. Remember, without our veterans, there would be nothing to celebrate at any time in America. It is what they do. It is what our first responders do. It is what our law enforcement officers, our ambulance drivers, our doctors and nurses, all first responders that are having to work on the holidays do to help us, to keep us safe and protect us. So think about them. If you're not thankful for anything else, be thankful for them and be thankful for your freedom to live here in a country that allows you to be free. Although we have many issues, I'll be the first one to tell you, America has many, many issues. Yes. But compared to other countries on planet Earth, there is no other better place to be than the United States of America. And I'm saying that for somebody who has been to just about every state in America and every country on God's earth. Trust me when I tell you, no matter what our problems are, there is no better place to be than right here in the USA. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. If you do not know what angel families are, or blue and gold star families, please, I beg you, look that up. Educate yourself. Learn about them. They deserve our respect, our dignity, and our support, because this current administration isn't giving it to them in any way, shape, or form. Also, please go to DouglasDucote.com. Check out the website, as well as my other Facebook page, my other YouTube channel that's titled Charlie Hotel 47. It is a place where I will post only actual videos, pictures that have been taken of me in combat operations across the nation, or across the country, the world, as well as museums and places that I have been blessed to be able to go to and tour and see. I want to be able to share that with you in hopes that not only will you see the things that I've been able to see and witness, but you'll share it with the youth of this nation in hopes that they will understand what this country is all about. And I will continue to do that and share those things until the day they put me in the ground, because it's very important for those of you that are unable to go out and see those kind of things or be a part of that. I want you to experience it. I want you to be able to see what I've been blessed to experience. And in some cases, not so blessed. It was combat operations. I have one video up called The Tragedies of War that's there, where I share with you things that I personally witnessed. So check it out. It's called Charlie Hotel 47. Thank you, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving. Please be safe. Thank you for being here. I'm blessed to have you as a member of this channel, as a member subscribing, also on my website, and also to my admins and those that monitor this chat for us. I thank them, and my family thanks them this Thanksgiving and every day. God bless you, and I'll see you next week, Tuesday night show at 8 p.m. Central Time, right here. If something breaks between now and then, or any kind of exciting breaking news that I feel that you need to know about, I'll be sure to either put out a live show about it or do a video. Other than that, I'm off to eat turkey twice, 3 or 4 times, considering how much we're going to have left over after 2 Thanksgivings. And I'll be sure to share some of those pictures with you as well. Thank you, everybody. Good night, and I'll see you soon.